Lesson 1 in Unit 4 deals with simple interest. And there are several different parts of it. The first one is, how do you calculate interest? Well, in this first case, we're supposed to find the principal. And remember that the maturity value is the principal plus the interest. So since we have the interest and we have the maturity value, we can take the maturity value minus the interest to get the principal. And so when we take 19,515 minus 4,515, we get 15,000. Let's look at the next one. Same kind of a thing, only this time they want us to find the interest, okay? So, well, if we know the maturity value and the principal, we can just subtract, and we would take 21,055, subtract 18,600, and we get $2,455, and 20 cents. I forgot the 20 cents. Next one. On November 18th, Judy Chan borrowed $17,100 from her Aunt Jan. If Judy agreed to pay 3.4% simple annual interest rate, calculate the dollar amount of interest she must pay if the loan is 26 months. So we're going to use the formula interest equals principal times rate times time. All right, so let's get it up there. Principal, principal is 17,100 times rate 0.034. Remember, it's got to be as a decimal, times, in this case, we're going to use the time as a fraction. The numerator of our fraction is the number of months, which is 26, and the denominator is 12 because there's 12 months in a year, and we get $1,259.70. Next one. Same kind of a thing for this one. We would take 18,900 times 0.033 times, and then our fraction will be 49/12, because there are 12 months in a year, and we get $2,546.78. Next one. On July 10th, Wendy Chapman borrowed $19,900 from Aunt Nelda. Man, those aunts always have lots of money, don't they? She agreed to pay 4.9% simple interest. Calculate the dollar value if the loan is for 4 years. So we would take principal, 19,900, times rate, which is 0.049, times time, which is 4 years, and we get $3,900.40. Okay, next. So that's 4.1.1. Then 4.1.2, if it's less than a year, you still use the simple interest formula. So we would take, well, this one is pretty easy because it's just one of those maturity value problems again. So we would take 15,591.25, subtract 15,000, and we get $591.25. Same thing here, do the subtraction there, and we get $818.40. So those two are pretty easy. Let's look at the next one. 1/4, so we would take interest is principal, 17,100, times rate, times 0.034, times time, which in this case is 1/4. And we get $145.35. Next one is the same kind of question, but they want to know the maturity value. So if we were doing this problem and finding the maturity value, problem 3, and finding the maturity value, we would add the principal to it, 17,100, and we would get 17,245.35. All right, next one is 4.1.3, and in this case we're going to find the rate and the time. Well, let's use our algebra skills for this. We know that interest is principal times rate times time. In this case, we're looking for rate, so our interest, 45.15, is our principal, 15,000, times rate times 7. Divide both sides by 15,000 and 7. Okay, so on our calculator, let's use the fraction key. 45.15 over 15,000 times 7, and we get 0.043, which would be 4.3%. Next one, they want us to calculate the time. Okay, well, let's see how that's going to work. Interest, which is 2,455.20, is principal, 18,600, times rate, 0.044, times time. Divide both sides by 18,600 and 0.044. This is 1 here, and this is 1 here, so we're going to have t all along on the right, and let's use our fraction key. 2455.20 over 18,600 times 0.044, and we get 3 years. Next one. Find the principal. That's actually pretty easy. We would just do the subtraction. 18,262.80. Subtract the interest, 1,162.80, and we get the principal, 17,100. Next one. 4.1.4. Finding maturity value, well, you just add the interest and the principal, so add those two together, you get 19,515. Suppose, though, they didn't give you the interest, so we would have to calculate the interest in this case. Let's look at this one. Interest is principal, 18,600, times rate, 0.044, times the time is 3 years, and we get that amount. Then we add in the principal, 18,600, and our total is $21,055.20. Same thing would be true if it's for 26 months. You would take, to find the interest, you would take the principal, 17,100, times the rate, 0.034, times the fraction of the year, which is 26, and then it's months, so this would be 12. Remember that the time is always in years, and so we'd get 1,259.70, add the 17,100, and we get $18,359.70. Okay, next. 4.1.5, calculate the number of days. Now you should use the date chart that's in your book. I've got it copied here in Excel. So let's do this first problem, which says to find the date from 90 days from September 30th. So we go to the date chart. September 30th is day 273. So 273 plus 90 is 363. 363 is December 29th. So that's how you would use the date chart for these problems. Here's a good one to do. Find 180 days from November 26th to from November 26th, 2013. So let's day 330. 330 plus 180 is 510. Subtract 365 because there's 365 days in a year. And you get day 145, which is May 25th. So May 25th would be, and it's the next year. So notice how we wrote May 25th, 2014. All right, next one. What do you do with the difference between exact and ordinary interest? Exact interest means that the year has 365 days. Ordinary interest means that it has 360 days. So let's look at this first one. Calculate simple interest on a 90-day, $15,000 loan at 4.3% ordinary interest. So we would take interest is principal, $15,000, times rate, 0.043, times the time, and we're going to use the fraction. The numerator is 90 days. Since it says ordinary, we're going to make the denominator 360. If it said exact interest, we would make the denominator 365. And when we do, we get $161.25. Next one, well, you can see number 2 asks you to find maturity value. So remember, after you found the interest, make sure you add in the principal to get the maturity value. Let's do this one down here, number 4. Calculate the maturity value on a 90-day, $18,900 loan at 3.3% exact, simple exact interest. So 18,900, oops, one too many zeros, times rate, 0.033, times time, which is 90, over, since it's exact, we would say 365, and we get that much interest. Add in the principal, 18,900, to get the maturity value of $19,053.79. If you have any questions, give me a call. See you next time.